So how do you use the principles of squash and stretch when animating a scene, besides bouncing a rubber ball? I'm Guy Celestri, and I'll give you some answers. Welcome to my channel. I'll show you how to create your own stories and characters. I still use paper and a pencil and scan my drawings into my computer. I know that 99.999% of today's animation is all created within computers, but the principles of good animation still remain the same. So I started out in the mid-1970s as an assistant to Marty Terrace and Johnny Gentilella, both master Popeye and Mighty Mouse animators of the first golden age of animation. They coached me on the basics of animation so I could develop my own style. And I'm sharing what I learned in my 40 years of professional experience with you. So let's start with the basics. Squash and stretch and overlapping action. These are the first two principles of animation that I had to understand and be able to master. Squash and stretch gives the forms you're moving pliability. Overlapping action gives your forms and animation fluidity. You mix them all together and it sparkles. In our first example, a pair of hands compress and then stretch a red ball. Even though the ball is very pliable, it doesn't lose or gain any mass as its shape is being changed. Note that in this case, the ball is being affected by an external force. In our second example, the ball is doing the traditional bouncing up and down. Squash and stretch. Up and down. Bouncy, bouncy. But in this case, notice that the force or energy propelling the ball is coming from within. This is a good example of using squash to anticipate moving into a stretching action. The human face is very pliable. Note how the eyebrows stretch up to anticipate the mouth and shoulders squashing into this expression and then relax back to its start position. Here's Snuffy hopping up and down, up and down. In slow motion, you can see how the principle of squash and stretch is applied to him making contact with the ground, pushing off, reaching the high point in his arc, and extending his legs to anticipate his landing. Here are two thumbnail pages that you can study. One shows the basic arcs and contact points of a bouncing ball. Ball drops down, squashes as it hits the ground, stretches as it rebounds into the top of its arc, then repeats dropping down to the ground. Thumbnail number 2 shows the starting pose of a happy face. Face squashes down as it hears a loud noise. Face stretches into a surprised expression. Face returns back to normal, sort of. A challenge. Animate a bouncing ball with a face on it. Animate it happy. Animate it sad. Animate it like a zombie. Express yourself. It's all up to you. That's all for this session. In part 2 of this series on squash and stretch, I'll show how this principle can be used in various degrees within the same action. Thanks for stopping by. If you like this video, click the button and subscribe. Until next time, keep your pencils sharp.